Currently, we have got some largest logos like Adani Group, Torrent, we have got Astral, we have got Zensa Technologies. You order a food, we have that as a customer. You basically go for a ride, we have that as a customer. You go to a bank and withdraw money from the ATM, we have that as a customer. And we are aiming to touch upon around 2,000 customers in the coming time. And that's why we are building the state-of-the-art facility so that it becomes our operational center, not only for defensive side of the security, but offensive side of the security as well.
Hi everyone, welcome to Sunday Investing. This is the eighth episode of Know Your Promoter series, where we talk to the promoters of upcoming IPOs and try and understand from them the company's business plan, their vision for bringing in their IPO, etc. Today, we have with us the chairman and managing director of Tech Defense Labs, Mr. Sunny Vaghela, the IPO for which is opening on 15th of September and closing on 17th of September. So with that, thanks so much, Sunny ji, for talking to us today. Maybe if you could just walk us through how did you get into cybersecurity business? What is your background? It's up to you to kind of just set up the flow.
Great. Pleasure connecting, Manish. And thank you for having me on this podcast. So, just to give you my background, cybersecurity for me started as a passion. Back when I was in my school days, it started with one of my email ID got hacked, and I started learning into cybersecurity. Uh, Although there were no right directions, there were no right communities. We created those communities back in 2001. Eventually, in my college days, I've done a lot. So while people were studying, I was actually helping a local investigating agency solve a lot of crimes. I found a couple of loopholes in SMS technology back in 2004-5. Then VoIP, and using which you could able to make calls from any number to any number, right? You don't require somebody's phone physically, but you can still use the number to do so. Uh, I found a couple of loopholes in the first social networking website, which is Orkut. So that's how my journey into cybersecurity started. So where people were seeing the facilities, I was seeing the flaws of the technology. And that's what the goal is. I always see the technology from the perspective of whether I could able to find some loopholes or some problems in this technology or not. I started helping crime branch in early days of mine. I solved around 160 cases during my tenure with them for almost 2 to 3 years. And trust me, Manish, this is during my college days. I mean, this is how my journey started. I passed out in 2008, and the surprisingly, there's two very major the terrorist attack happened in India. One was in 2008 Ahmedabad serial blast, and second was the 26/11 Mumbai bombing. So because I was working with them and people were knowing me as an ethical hacker, I got an opportunity to work on these cases. But that was my, a natural calling from inside that now Sunny, is only made for cybersecurity and, ethical hacking. So I started my journey into cybersecurity back in 2010. So I worked with the government as a consultant for 2 years from 2008 to 2010. And then I started a company or under a Tech Defense Labs brand in 2010. But 2010 to 2017, we were only focused on cybersecurity training. So what we were doing is we were going to a couple of educational institutions, conducting 8 hours to 16 hours to 40 hours of the workshops and training them on, different cybersecurity perspective. But then we incorporated as a private limited company in 2017. So 17, we started our services vertical because that was a time where companies are investing into cybersecurity or companies have a separate budget for cybersecurity. So we started our company in 2017 as a Tech Defense Labs Solutions Private Limited, which is now TechD CyberSecurity Limited. We started as a VA and PT practice, which is a security assessment services. So security assessment is something where we go to the organization and tell them, hey, you have this many open doors in your system and you need to patch it up before hacker come and hack your organizations. Uh, in my first month of the incorporation, I have closed one of the first customer, that's the biggest customer, that is Adani Group, and then slowly, gradually, we have got almost all business units of that group with us in just the course of 1 year. Because we brought one of the largest logo or one of the largest companies as our customer logos, we have closed around 50 customers in just 1 year of the time. Then in 2018, we started with our security, GRC vertical. So we started with our compliance and advisory services, where we were helping a couple of companies to basically comply them with the cybersecurity framework. There are regulatory bodies which has got the framework published, and we are helping them to basically ensure to perform their cyber audits, system audits, and the respective, the international standards, to comply with those standards. Then we started a security operations center. So we decided to, diversify company, not from this one time or 1 year contract with the customers, but we wanted to do it a multi-year contract with the customers. So, and that is only possible with the MSSP services. So we started with our managed security operations center. You could say that it's a 24/7 security operations center, where uh, people basically act as a security guard for any organization, and they monitor the organization. And our simple work in a layman's language is to throw a hacker out of that system so that the hacker cannot penetrate more into a system. And the overall objective is to secure the data, secure the information of the organizations. We started with a couple of OEM tie-ups because we are a service provider. So we started with the Securonics, which is one of the market leader in this technology. We started with Secure, and then Splunk, and then CrowdStrike. So there are multiple OEM partners we started working with, and we provided MSSP services. So currently, we are serving 470 plus customers in our security, the services vertical. So we provide security assessment where we find problems, GRC where we basically comply them with the frameworks, and third is a security operations center where we monitor them 24/7, 365 days a year. And those customers who have been with us for many years, they are now taking our cyber program management. So cyber program management is a complete year-long program with a multi-year commitment with us, where we bring in all sort of a bundle services into a one single bundle. So that is, increase our average ticket size. That is actually helping us to create a more annual recurring revenue for us. And our, objective after IPO is only and only to focus on the cyber program management services, MSSP services, and a bundle services. That said, will not be doesn't mean we will not be focusing on a one-time engagement, but yes, we'll be more focusing on our, the recurring revenues and our multi-year engagement with the customers. Currently, we have got some largest logos like Adani Group, Torrent, we have got Astral, we have got Zensa Technologies, we have got I mean, so you order a food, we have that as a customer. You basically go for a ride, we have that as a customer. You go to a bank and withdraw money from the ATM, we have that as a customers. And what I've seen during the course of years in India, that cybersecurity is now becoming a mandate for many organizations because of a lot of regulatory regulations which are coming. That's number one. Number two, it is not an optional thing anymore. It has become a business problem, for almost all of this company. So now we are having a presence in Ahmedabad, in Bombay and Pune. These are the three locations we are already present right now. But our sales presence is across India, and with IPO, we are actually planning to go planning to go international, which is expanding into USA, Middle East, and Africa.
Understood. Thank you so much, sir, for giving a deep, comprehensive background. It definitely helps in order to understand the company. Just one question before I hand it over to Tanmay. So, are you majorly into managed services, or is there a product also which you have developed right now? Are you planning to develop in the future? And then, if you are only in managed services, let's say, can you help explain to our viewers how does a company decide when it is giving an order? Should it give to a cybersecurity firm A or cybersecurity firm B? And what advantage or mode does tech defense have to be able to continue to get those orders outside of, let's say, relationships, etc.?
Correct. So for any company to outsource their cybersecurity function, first of all, we need to understand most of the companies, they do not recruit their own team members. They always outsource the cybersecurity function to an other company because the maker and checker has to be different. The second is when they choose a vendor, right? They choose a vendor based on the regulatory recognition as well. So we are a certain empaneled company, which is of Ministry of IT empaneled company. So that is a mandate by almost all the frameworks in India that the company has to be certain empaneled. Third, criteria is they basically go to a certain website, check what kind of projects that we have done, what level of projects we have done, and that's how they decide their vendor. Fourth is the technical strength of the, vendor. So we are already having 160 plus, these certified professionals with us right now, which by September will be around 200 plus people, which we are having in the team, and they're all international, they're all certified with the international certifications, and we are having our online internal the training programs as well. So keeping in mind, this four factors, and the fifth is a factor, because companies are actually going to hand over their passwords, their access of the network to us. So they would always like to go with a brand who is old in the system, and specifically the leaders or the leadership, who are actually in the brand are a trusted leaders in the market as well, because security is a trust. When you give an access to someone, right, you need to make sure that the access does not go in the wrong hands. And we also need to meet a lot of compliance to make sure to gain the confidence of the customers as well. So currently we do not have our own products, right? We are all dependent on our MSSP partners or the MSSP OEMs we are working with, like Securonics, CrowdStrike. There are almost 15 odd OEMs that we are already working with right now. Company has already started making efforts on creating some sort of a AI, the proprietary agents of us, which is solving many of our tasks right now and automating many of our tasks so that we are not much dependent on our people, but AI can actually do some of our tasks for us as well, like evidence collection to triggering the scans for the customers to investigating some of the incident for our customers. And while we are already, in this particular, the journey of AI into cybersecurity, this is going to help us. Number one is give an effective delivery, give a faster delivery to our customers, and making sure that getting more margins by not recruiting more people and depending on the technology and automation to get our tasks done in a real time. In the future, we have certain plans to create certain of the product into a recent, the categories listed by the Gartners. But as of now, we do not have our product. We are a pure play MSSP service provider. We work with customers from one particular time of engagement to year to a multi-year engagement as well.
Understood. No, I can definitely relate to this because I tell you, I have worked a bit in the AIF industry, and recently there was a mandate from SEBI where they wanted all AIFs to get VAPT, etc. Then, and at that moment of time, we had to go to the website to see, okay, which all are the CERT certified vendors and how do we reach out to them? Because from my understanding, it's still a very nascent industry and there is a lot of headroom possible. From my understanding, there's a regulatory mode per se. So how difficult is it to get those regulations, and how do people decide if let's say tomorrow I want to open a firm and get apply for that CRT in regulation, what do I need to do? Maybe if you could answer that one question, and I can very quickly hand it over to Tanmay.
See, getting a regulatory recognition is a little tough. It's not an easy journey, right? You need to actually go through a 1 year long process, and it actually happens in 5 different stages where they test your people offline, they test your skill set online, and basically you've been given task to basically hack or rather find some problems into it, and you need to score 95%. So. Um, uh, Although right now there are good number of vendors in the certain, but yes, it is difficult. It is not that easy for anyone to basically get that particular certain. Well, I already said about SEBI, or you already touched upon the one point of SEBI regulated customers or for SEBI CSERF compliance. So see, the company strategy right now is I've got different team members, I've got different sales team members who are actually focusing on one particular industry itself. So there's a team, dedicated in the sales who is focusing only and only manufacturing customers and understand the pain areas with respect to cybersecurity for manufacturing and getting their, work done. there is a team, right, which basically takes care of only and only SEBI regulated entities and make sure that we dominate that industry. And let me tell you, Manish, we were 3 years back, we were serving only 60 customers in SEBI CSERF. Right now, we are at more than 200 customers. We are serving for only SEBI CRF or SEBI registered entities as well. Same goes with the BFSI sector. 3 years back, we were serving around 30 banks. Right now, we are serving around 127 banks, and that's still not even 1% of it. So, I mean, the market is huge because the regulations are in the place, and market will be huge because there are a couple of regulations which are already coming, and even DPDP, which is a Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, which is already passed in the Parliament 2023, which is going to mandate each and every company in India to follow cybersecurity norms. And we are just hoping and waiting for that to, get into an effect.
Understood. Thank you. Over to you, Tanmay, for your questions.
So, there has been a lot of innovation in the cybersecurity happening from like last 3, 4 years that we get to hear that this unicorn from Israel is working on this kind of an emerging technology. So, how do you stay top of the things on the innovation part, and how do you approach emerging technologies like AI, quantum safe encryption, and zero trust frameworks within your offerings?
Absolutely. So, a very good question, Tanmay. Cybersecurity has been a buzzword in past almost 3, 4, years. Reason behind it, as I said, not only in India, but across every country, there are framework regulations which are actually coming and mandating the cybersecurity firms. How do we make sure to, get into a top of this particular, the game? One thing you need to understand, I come from a background where we have a lot of academia presence. So here in this company, we also have a one vertical, which is a cybersecurity training vertical. But what I was doing before 2017 was a short-term programs. And right now what we are doing is a long-term programs with universities, is BTech in cybersecurity and MTech in cybersecurity. Now, having said that, BTech and MTech, I run a program with university. Let's take an example, of Parul University, where there are 2,200 people are studying right now in Parul BTech. It is completely outsourced to us. It is completely run by us. We act as a knowledge partner. We create curriculum. And what we make sure is we create a skillful people, not at the end of 4 years, but we create skilled people by end of second year. So while there is a buzzword about cybersecurity, but what we need to understand, this is also resource intensive industry, right? For any other company, getting resource, training them, and sending them to a field take a lot of time. For my company, I can tell you my third year guy in a BTech of my cybersecurity, partner university can even act as an L2 guy, as well, because the kind of curriculum and the kind of skillful knowledge is what we are creating. Number one is we are absorbing some of the good minds from our own university. So one is company is not putting any sort of a cost in getting those L1, L2 guys because they all come from our own partner universities itself. Number two is while we are getting them in a third year of the engineering, we are actually saving the cost because he's working for 2 years also, and he's actually making sure to do our customer delivery also. While we always keep the top people, from some of the good organizations, we recruit them and we make sure that they are experienced people to manage the process. But the rest of the other people are from our own private universities, and they makes us, create or give more margins to it. Second is we always win on a price point because when I go to customers, I always have a competition with big fours, right? Where price point is a one point with where I win, and second point is the resources perspective. Because no matter there is AI, there is innovation, there is everything, but still you need a human to basically decide whether how the patch is to be applied, whether the patch is applied is verified or not, how the technology is going to be managed. Because nowadays on an average, one organization manages around 10 to 15 different type of security technologies, and to manage all this technology, resources are always needed. So while other vendors take time for at least a month or a two to get them, onboard them, skill them, and do it, here what I have is a surplus of the resources, the thing. And trust me, you need to understand these resources are paying to me also because they're paying their college fees, and I'm actually getting the share out of their college fees as a knowledge partner working with the university itself. So with this model, when I say I have 160 people, full time, But trust me, I've got 200 people who are actually working as an intern in my organization as well.
So now let me come on the financials. I have seen your balance sheet and the P&L statement. Mostly the things are on a good note and the growth has been very strong. So one question would be on the trade receivable part. The trade receivables have been shot up from 2.1 crore to 12.6 crores in FY25. What suggests this? And the sub questions would be like, what are your average receivable days and H1 versus H2 split in the revenues?
H1 versus H2 and split in the revenues. Okay.
Ah,
So I'll touch upon the H1 and H2. So in 2024, 2025, in H1, we have 12 crore 87 lakh rupees revenue. And in H2, we have got total is, 29 point, the total year revenue is 29 point, 38 lakh rupees approximately. So, number one is to answer your second question is we get more business in our third quarter. So third quarter is something which is the most important quarter for us. Why it is a most important quarter? Because of two reasons. One, we work with customers which are having mandates from the regulatory bodies to manage their compliances. Many of them are having deadlines in December, or many of them are having deadlines in the month of March. Now coming to our trade receivable parts, why it is 12 crore rupees. So, and most of these trade receivable parts are of month of, February or month of March. And why it is, pending at the month of March or at the ending of March, because we need to understand that the moment, companies come to us and they get their assessment done or they have some other contract done, they need to have certificate on their compliance. They need to have the attestation on their particular certificate on their compliance, and then only they basically release that particular payment portion of that as well. So that is one of the reason there are trade receivables which are already there. Second, there are certain projects that we are working for international customers of ours, which actually completed around 90%, but there are certain tasks which are already completed, which are going to be completed in the month of April, but for which we already done the effort, already everything is done, but they're just waiting for a final sign off, end of this financial year from their respective or end of year from their respective, the government bodies as well. That is the reason it is already there. But let me tell you, in already month of April and May, we have already recovered almost 68% of our revenue as well as of now, which was actually receivable by end of 31st of March 2025. Right. So average cycle of the data days is around 45 days to 90 days, depending upon whether it's a 1 year engagement or a multi-year engagement. To improve this, what we have done now, or what changes what we have done or incorporated in our system, the customers which are with us for almost 3 years, 4 years, for a one-time engagement, we have enforced them the condition of a 50%, which is a advance payment. So without advance payment, we'll not be working and doing any sort of a task for our customers. For all our recurring customers, what we have for managed security services, we have decided to make sure that rather than we get the payment monthly advance, we ask them, can you pay us quarterly advance, because they've been with us for almost like 3 years or 4 years, right? So now with this new processes which are in place and the right set of receivable team we have right now in place, and let me tell you, we are incorporating AI into it as well to make sure on the recovery portion, so that we'll be able to recover payments within our 45 days of the average timeline defined by the MSME and the regulators.
thanks for answering that. So I just going through the objects of the issue, and I saw that the company is, spending 12 crores on the capex to set up a global security operation center
Correct.
GSOC. And tell us more about this and the potential and significance of this.
That's a very interesting question. So let me tell you what the SOC is: a security operations center. So we have given it a name, Tech Defense Cyber Valley, right? It's what we are setting up. It's a complete 60,000 square feet super built up area is what we are building in Ahmedabad. Now, what is the need of it, right? So, or whether we are able to cater to that sort of a customer, or how many customers we are able to cater in the coming years with this particular state of the art facility. To answer this, most of the regulatory bodies, be it in India, be it in US, be it in Middle East, because we are expanding into those regions, every single framework is mandating SOC for their customers or for their member entities. So SOC is going to be a mandate for almost all entities moving forward, not only in India, but across the globe, because the regulators are forcing that you need to have 24/7 monitoring. Currently, we are, this facility will have experience center, R&D center, it will have service delivery center, it will have a training unit as well, and a largest ever SOC is what we are building. To cater to 2,000 customers, we require a great facility, right? And we are aiming to touch upon around 2,000 customers in the coming time. And that's why we are building the state-of-the-art facility so that it becomes our operational center, not only for defensive side of the security, but offensive side of the security as well.
Like without giving any specific numbers here, and how do you see the growth potential of the company over the next 3 years? And you don't need to give us specific numbers, but any messages as well for people who are joining you in the journey right now in the IPO of the company.
Number one is regulations are becoming very stringent, right? And regulators are becoming stringent. India is, coming up with the DPDP bill, which is coming into effect in the coming months. Not only in India, but across the globe, the regulations are making the cybersecurity mandate for the organization. That is the reason the spend on the cybersecurity is now doubling and tripling for any organizations. Before 2 years, I always used to see the budgets are IT and cyber into a same budget. But trust me, now every organization, is spending at least 4% of their global turnover in India, right, as a cybersecurity budget, and 10% is something they are spending on the cybersecurity budget because they understand the importance of what IP they have, what information they have, right? So keeping this cybersecurity, we are actually want to, make sure that we go to a next orbit of our success with our IPO milestone, and with the support of our early investor and with our existing investor, we want to go to the next leap of, our success in the coming future as well. So the future is bright, and the cybersecurity is going to be a mature sector in the coming years, and I'm sure tech defense or TechD cybersecurity will be in the forefront of that.
Understood. Thank you so much, Sunny ji, for talking to us today.